Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Well, I've got another quick and easy idea for you today. If you'd like to join in with the great big little art swap, but you don't know where to start, these are just some easy ideas to get you going and just to prove the point that you don't need to be a great artist, because I'm not, to have a go at this and make just a little fun piece of art to share with your swapsters all over the world, wherever they may be. So if you would like to join in, I will link to the video that tells you all about the great big little art swap and the stitchery swap as well, if that's more your bag, and you can watch that and find out all about it. I'll also leave my link tree so you can find your way to our free Discord community and find your swapsters, or just connect, show us what you're doing, share your ideas and inspiration. It's just a lovely fun place to be. I'm also still keeping the don't worry if you prefer Facebook, I'm still keeping the Arty Farty Annie group on Facebook going, because I know some people still prefer Facebook, but I highly recommend you give Discord a go, because it doesn't take too long to get used to. It's very user friendly once you're in there, and there's just so much going on in there. It's just easier to connect with people, honestly. Okay, so today, quick idea. It's all about lettering and calligraphy. Now, I am not an expert calligrapher by any stretch of the imagination. It's one of those things I always love to think I'll be able to do, but I've never really spent a lot of time learning how to do it properly. I do have some pens. Let me show you the let's take you to the desk and show you what this is. One of my big fat wallets of different markers. And I've got these pens. These were brush pens that I got actually pretty cheaply. It was a big set of 20 or 24 or something. They're lovely proper brush pens, and they were really quite reasonable, and they're lovely and juicy, really nice to use. So, you know, if you're really clever and you can already do that lovely kind of modern calligraphy thing, or what do they call it when you get all different fonts in a block? Oh, I should look this up before I started. I'm trying to do too many things at the moment. But where you get all different fonts, different words arranged at different angles, in all different sizes and all different fonts in a block. Something like that would be amazing. If you love to play with letters and calligraphy and different fonts, you could definitely do that. That's definitely a legitimate art form. Whoops, for your 4-inch squares. So the idea, if you don't know, if you're watching this and you haven't seen the previous videos, the idea of the great big little art swap is to create a 4-inch square, or squares, depends on, you can swap just one square or as many as you like. You can swap them with people in your own country or all over the world. And the idea is to create a 4-inch or 10 centimetre square with a 1 centimetre or 3/8 of an inch border all around it. So here's my 12 centimetre square. Here's a piece I made last night. So this is my 10 centimetre square, which I will mount on there with some double-sided tape. So I find that I'm using up these A4 pads. I've got quite a lot of them from having scorer boxes. So I'm using up these, and I find I can cut 2 comfortably out of their 10 centimetre, but I wouldn't get 2 12 centimetre squares. So I'm cutting 2 out of that expensive paper, and then I should mount them on white card like this, just to set them off. Now, before I forget, this reminds me, this was my attempt at doing what the amazing Rachel Brereton does. She does these incredible watercolour backgrounds and then doodles into them. This was my attempt, and I'm happy enough with it. You know, I wouldn't be embarrassed to send that to someone, but Rachel's are so much, they're just so much better. I can show you the one she's made me. Hang on. Here's the one that she's made me. You can see where I was going, but you can see the difference. But the great thing is that Rachel has made a little video she's put on her TikTok, and she shared a link to it in the Discord. So have a look in the art show and tell room in our Discord community, and she's done a little video showing how she creates the background. She makes it look really easy and really fun. And I said to her, please do some more, because yeah, it's really helpful to see exactly how she does that. I was using kind of pastel watercolours, so I think in hindsight I might have been better with the more vivid colours. But yeah, anyway, so that's another day. I'm trying to make these short and sweet, and I just can't seem to do it, can I? That noise you keep hearing is my stool. Nothing rude. So I am not a calligrapher. I would love to be, but I'm not. So I'm going to cheat, and what I've done is I've gone into Microsoft Word. You know, you could use whatever you software you've got on your PC, and I've printed out. This font is the one that I use quite a lot. I've used it in a lot of the video titles for the art swap and the stitchery swap, and it's called Traditional Punk. It was a free downloadable font, which, you know, once you've downloaded it once, it pops up in all the apps that you use on your PC. It's brilliant. And I can't remember what this one was called, but it's just like a scripty one. And I printed them out at, I think it was 72 points, really quite big, because I wanted them to sort of fill my little square quite well. I'm going to actually close that gap up there. Another idea I saw today, which I'm going to try, this is on Tori's channel, so Cool Kooky Creatures. She was doing this thing with this funky foam. She called it funky foam, I call it craft foam. I hope it's the same thing, but she just used something like, let's find one, these little things, one of these little things, to make marks in it. I think I need a smaller one. So she just wrote words. Of course you have to remember to write the words backwards. She just wrote words, but you could also make little designs or anything in there, and then used ink to print it onto fabric, and you could just as well print it onto your square for your art square. So I thought, what a great idea. I'm going to have a little go at that as well in a minute. I'm not going to try the whole thing because I really want to try and keep this short, but I'm just going to show you stages of what I'm doing just to give you some ideas. Right, so I'm going to do this one first, and my first step is to create a nice colourful background to work onto. I'm going to do both these at the same time. And I'm going to use Distress Oxide inks because I've got a lot of them. They're nice, I love using them, and I might as well, since they're there. But you could just as well use paint or watercolours or whatever, whatever felt pens, whatever you've got that you like using, to just add a splash of colour. And if you haven't got a printer or anything and you can't do this, then look in magazines. You could trace letters out of the titles on magazines or book covers or anything, just to get the letters that you want. You could even just cut the letters out, actually cut them out of a magazine and stick them on to a colourful background, you know. Okay, so I like using these blender brushes. You can get them really cheap on Temu these days. I tend to buy them as makeup blender brushes. They seem to be cheaper that way than if you buy them as crafts. And I like these ones that come in the different colours because I can keep them different ones for each kind of colour family of inks as well, so that's quite nice. I like doing like a graduated thing. This one's called Pistachio. So these are Distress Oxide. They have a really interesting, they work nicely together. I love all distress. I love the original Distress inks as well. They're more transparent, and sometimes that's what I want. Today I thought this would be nice. I love the way these work together, and I love what happens when you throw a little bit of water at them as well. I don't want this to take too long. You could also use a stencil, whatever, you know, if whatever you've got. You could cut shapes out of post-it notes and mask off areas, you know, create little stencils or something. You could, well, one thing that's quite nice to do, I could try it with this actually, just to show you, is to get like a torn edge like that. Let's try it on this next one. So I think I'll go into blue now. And let's just torn that edge off there. So they're expensive to invest in the first place, these distress inks, but my goodness me, you get your money's worth out. And I had these for years, and I've used them a lot. Let's see what happens now when I lift that up. That's quite interesting. So it's just like a question of just, you know, creating some kind of interest in the background, really. Let's go purple next. Doing any of these ones that I show in these quick videos that I'm doing probably aren't actually going to get sent out, except Tracy Ann did request one particular one that I did on I think the first one that I made, so I'm going to save that one for Tracy Ann. But I'm not taking too much care with these because I'm just trying to really just show you like quick ideas just to get you going. That's all this is about, and just trying to make the point that You don't have to be an expert to have a go at some of these things. Let's go into the pink here. And one of the reasons these are so nice to work with is they do stay wet for a while, so I do need to let them dry before I move on to the next stage. That looks much brighter in real life than it does on camera. I'm not sure I like that I did there. I think that torn thing would have been better if I was just doing it in one colour. Yeah, I could just turn over and do that on the other side just to show you what I mean. I might just also just flick a bit of water at this one. I could be drying while I'm fiddling with this one. Right, so one of the lovely things about doing these little 4-inch squares is it's such a nice way to play with a few ideas, you know. Whatever you do, it can't take too long when it's just a 4-inch or 10 centimetre square, you know. So you can see the sort of effect you get once the water starts activating. I think I put too much there, but it don't matter. With this one I'm just going to just do some little flicks. I'll set that to one side to start working while I do the next thing. I'm going to try, I don't think I've got time to do a whole card showing Tori's method, but I was so impressed with it, and the little fabric labels that she made that she's going to stitch into some of the things she makes were so impressive. I thought it was brilliant. I'm just going to quickly show you, but what I'll do is I'll link to her video. So say I just want to, I've got to remember to write it backwards. So say I wanted to just write the word art. Or you could just, you know, draw a little heart shape or a flower or a bird or whatever you want to do. A's easy because it's the same both ways, isn't it? And you know, I have got, like Tori said, it's nice to do lino cuts and things and carve into erasers and stuff like that. But actually this is quick, cheap, accessible. You can buy these sheets in like the pound shop, or you know, our local supermarket has them. And you know, if you haven't got one of these things, you could use the end of a knitting needle. So there we go. I've just written the word art backwards just to give you something to just try it with. I just want to cut this a little bit straighter. There we go. So that's kind of more or less square. Tori used an acrylic block, and I have got acrylic blocks which she used for stamping, but in case you haven't got that, you know, find something, some kind of tub, something. You could even do it on, I don't know, it's, you know, I could do it on the on that, just something you can use to stamp it with. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Pritt stick on the back just to hold it on there, just temporarily. It'll come off when I'm done. And then you need either some kind of ink like this, or I've got this kind of thing. I might try one of these colours just because I've got them out, but you could also experiment. I will experiment for you in a minute, doing it with just like a felt pen or something. What have we got here? Textile things. It's not going to work with something like the Copics, the alcohol markers. It would have to be something that stays a little bit wet, so pigment pens or a water-based pens. I'll try one of those brush pens that I've got there, just out of curiosity, just to show you. I'll just stamp this down and see what happens. I probably need to practice a few times before I can get this how I would like it, but let's see what we get. I'm going to be thrilled if I get any results anything like as good as Tori had. Oh, that's come off. Okay, let's try that again. Maybe I'll try it just without the block this time. So I can really press that down now. Okay, let's hope that works a bit better. You're probably better to go and watch Tori's video and you'll see how to do it properly. Oh, look at that. So, you know, it's not perfect, but it don't need to be, does it? It's not meant to be perfect. I really quite like that, and I would make use of that if I hadn't have already now. I could cut it out and use it, mount it onto the centre of a square. I could do what I've been doing all along with my big fat marker. Where's it gone? Do myself a little black line around it, which I always like doing. Something I love about just outlining things. Middle there, and then just do a bit of doodling around it, or just leave it like that. This is that would be quite funny. Just do the word art. This is art. Let's try one of those pens on here just to see if it would work with felt pens. You know, pinch your kids' felt pens. I'll do this with the kids in the holidays. That'd be great fun. Okay, so let's just, this isn't going to be beautiful. I'm just doing it quickly just to see if it will work. Let's see. Pretty good. It's still got some of the blue on it as well, but yeah, I actually quite like the look of that. So yeah, you could definitely have a play around with this. I mean, that whole sheet, I've got 60p on the back of that because I actually bought it in an art shop, but you can definitely get this really, I've had this for ages, you can definitely get it really cheap as a kid's art supply in like the pound shop and stuff. And a knitting needle or whatever, cocktail stick or something. Yeah, see what you could do. And you know, if you just stamped that word in the middle and then just doodled around and around it, you know, with a bit of a colourful background. Brilliant. So that is another idea. I'm just going to cut these words out. I think it'd be easier to place them if they're cut out. Could also add this to one of these other backgrounds I've done, like that. Doesn't have to be the word art, it could be anything. I've just put that just for the sake of a, you know, you could put hello or 2023 or your initials, or maybe it'd be quite nice just to cut a small one just to make your initials in the corner of every square that you swap. That could be fun. Or just a little heart shape you put on every little square that you swap. So my idea with this one, is to put these words here. I can use these words over and over again if I wanted to do the same thing lots of times. I want those to be on there like that, and then I might doodle around them, or not, I might just leave it like that. I quite like that. But I need to transfer the image, so place that where I want it. So that one's going to go there. I can see, you might not be able to see on camera, I can see where my square is. Right, so I've got that all transferred now, so I'm just going to take this is quite a fat Pigma pen, and I'm just going to colour that in. I like this font because it is it's meant to be a bit wonky, so that's perfect. Feel confident drawing your own lettering and doing proper calligraphy. That would be a wonderful thing to do for this swap. But if you like the look of it, but like me, you're not very not very good at calligraphy or making up your own fonts, then you know. And I wish I could remember what that word is for the thing where you get all the different fonts in different shapes and sizes, kind of this way, that way, this way, that way, all in a block. That would be lovely for an art square. Or like that kind of chalkboard art, you know. Yeah, so what I would then do is go on and doodle around it. I would definitely do my usual outline. You know, maybe if you'd used like stencils or done a bit of, if you scribble over bubble wrap with felt pens, just normal kids felt pens, or stamp it if you've got ink blocks, you know, and do some bubble wrap stamping in the background, that might be enough without having to do any doodling and things, you know. I might get my white pen out as well, if that's dry enough yet to, and I don't know, perhaps do a bit of Always like my white dots. Highlighting. Whatever floats your boat. That's that idea. There's also the where did I put that little? There we go. Oops. There's this little idea pinched from Tori, which I quite like. And then there's one more thing I just wanted to try. I think I might pencil it out first, but I'm not going to be too fussy about it. It's just this little idea here of so it says "We Heart Art." So I'm going to do a heart there and then just freehand the words around it. One way I do like to do, right, if I wanted to do sort of quirky writing, is I'll just vaguely pencil out some lines like that first. And then I'll write on here, so once upon, and some will be capitals and some will be hey, once upon a time. I love doing lettering like that, and then once you sort of fill it all in, it looks quite interesting and quirky. So you could fill the whole square with some sort of writing, a little quote that you like or something like that. This one I thought would be quite fun to incorporate that heart. So I'm just going to kind of draw a quirky heart here. I'm saying quirky to cover the fact that it's going to come out wonky anyway. And then here's where my lettering's gonna go. Yeah, so you can see kind of where I'm going there. I need to finish this up now and get this edited and uploaded, and then I need to go and do a bit of stitching. Plus I want to jump onto Discord and the Facebook group and have a look at, because I've quickly noticed in passing that people are posting squares that they've received in the swap, and I haven't had a chance to properly look at them yet, so I need to go and do that as well. But yeah, those are just quite like, let's leave that one. I'm trying to put my thumbnail together now. Those are just a few little ideas that you might like to try. You could definitely cut letters out of magazines, you could freehand it, you know, if you're brilliant at calligraphy, that would be brilliant. But just the idea, it's just the idea of using lettering and calligraphy to create a little art piece. So that's it from me today. I hope you maybe found that useful or inspiring. And I hope you're having fun finding some swapsters, whether for the stitching or the art swap. It's just so much fun. Really having a blast with this. It's going to be keeping us all very busy for a few weeks yet, I think. Okay, I'm off now, and to actually do some stitching, and I will see you again really soon, like probably tomorrow. Bye. Thanks for watching.